I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and highlight a hopefully helpful add-on. This week, Blizzard released a brand new blog post about housing, this time talking all about neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are one of the things that make housing stand out so much from the other thing we could easily compare it to, being garrisons. In garrisons, you were instanced and isolated within your own instance, and you could invite people in, but it's not like you were going to wander around and just see anybody else's garrison. Whereas with neighborhoods, now they're talking about like up to 50 different players living on a map persistently side by side. Or you know, like side by side in a cul-de-sac, and then like a couple of people like way out in the boonies where no one will disturb them. With a little urban metropolis for anybody that really wants to just like sit on their stoop. I'll kind of recap the basics of what they laid out. Neighborhoods are either public or private. Public neighborhoods are just auto-spun up by the servers. They will sort of auto-fill, and they'll just spin up more as needed, and important things will be kind of decided server-side for those. So if you don't have people to play with, don't worry, you're not going to be like in a barren wasteland. If anything, the private neighborhoods may be more prone to wastelandness. Because in private neighborhoods, you've got either guild neighborhoods or charter neighborhoods. Charter just being kind of custom. A guild neighborhood is kind of what it sounds like. Your guild will get a neighborhood, and then if your guild has more than 50 players, it's going to spin up like extra attached instances for everybody to have. And then a charter neighborhood is sort of custom done. There will be a custom leader. There are minimum amounts of players that have to exist in a neighborhood. They didn't say what the minimum is, but it's pretty safe to say that they're not going to let you get away with having your own entire neighborhood privately for yourself, or just like two people having one of their own for what sounded like server reasons. The big surprise from this post, at least to me, was all of this talk about endeavors, which are kind of like invasions, it sounds like. There's sort of a themed faction will come to your neighborhood, and there will be tasks that you can do to progress what sounds like just like a bar. These things should happen approximately once a month, and if completed, you will get some currency and gain access to vendors that sell you themed decorations to that faction that came by. Hello. Hi. It sounds like you'll be able to contribute to those endeavors with a lot of flexibility. It sounds like there's many different options for things you can do to complete it, and they talked about making them scale so that they should be completable regardless of your neighborhood size and activity. It should sort of like figure out how, you know, motivated or lazy people are over time and make them doable anyways. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. We also found out that you'll be able to level up your house to earn rewards because, of course, there's a renown track. Why would we think there isn't a renown track? And that looks fine. I will say, when I first read about endeavors and fill the bar progress, or what sounds like fill the bar progress, and a renown track, my initial gut instinct was, oh no, because I don't want housing to turn into chores. I was very cautious about wanting any content from it, like any things to do that were aside from just decorate and live your life, right? I was a little worried about that, but it sounds like you're not being asked to do anything that you wouldn't be doing anyways in the game, and it also sounds like these systems are going to give you housing-related rewards, so housing-related currency that you can use to buy decorations for your housing, and, you know, other benefits to your housing specifically. So I'm hoping that they don't make it mandatory for people that don't care about housing, because I haven't met those people, but I'm sure they're out there and I want them to be happy too. And I hope that it doesn't end up feeling too much like chores that you have to do as opposed to something cool that you get to do, although I suppose that's just game design in general. I'll link the full post in the description of this video in case you missed it and you want to read through it. It goes into more the nitty-gritty of permissions for who you can let into your house and when and stuff like that, along with some other core things like what if I hate my neighbors? It's funny seeing WoW tackle problems that are fundamental to human society, but in the WoW version for the first time. I'm sure it's going to be a mess, and I really can't wait for it. This has made me so excited for housing, and I know that it's coming soon, but I feel like it's not coming soon enough yet. Speaking of things coming soon, we have a patch release schedule now for Ghosts of Koresh, which is the upcoming major patch to WoW and also the last one of the War Within expansion. Here is a look at what's coming. So August 5th, patch week, campaign, world boss, basic dungeons. At this point, the season hasn't begun yet, so you don't have to freak out about raiding, but you do have to start to freak out because the following week, August the 12th, that's when the raid opens, normal, heroic, mythic, and the first wing of Raid Finder. Race to World First is going to kick off. The Mythic Plus season is going to start. You'll be able to do keys. You'll be able to PvP in the new season. All of that starts August 12th. And then you get story mode and the next wing of Elefar the following week, and then the third and final wing of Elefar the week after that. All of this feels so soon. Maybe I've just been busy and time is flying, or maybe this is really fast. I think it's just because it's like the shortest gap in my memory between testing a raid and releasing a raid, because like we just finished Mana Forge Omega raid testing like now, partly because of the reschedule, but also like mythic testing like just finished. I don't think that's a problem necessarily. It's just a little jarring if you're used to there being like a multiple month gap between first seeing the raid and then actually heading in and doing it. I will say, in terms of Mana Forge Omega, it looks amazing. I know I say this every tier. It's because all the raid tiers have been great. I haven't tested a bad one. Like maybe like a fight here and there that's controversial, but I haven't seen like a bad raid tier ever, but they're getting better. I feel like they started good and they're getting better. I really like that in Mana Forge Omega, it feels like they're kind of beginning to design with accessibility in mind. Like they want these fights to be learnable. They're not trying to keep raid fights only for people that are willing to like watch guides. Don't get me wrong, I love guides. I make guides. I'm gonna continue to make guides, but they're making mechanics more sight readable. They're making mechanics easier to understand without necessarily making them dead easy to execute. So there's still something for you to learn and progress on and feel excited that you managed to do. The fights are visually amazing, but they're not like wildly complicated. I'm very excited to do this raid. I'm gonna miss Liberation of Undermine though, especially the voice acting in Liberation of Undermine. We had so many good voice lines in that raid and I'm going to miss them. I miss no opportunity to say shaking out ya bones at like the most inappropriate times. I guess I can still do that, but it was weird before. Other things going on, speaking of dates and things coming soon and happening, if you weren't already overwhelmed and a little burnt out by events, we're getting another event. The Winds of Mysterious Fortune leveling buff is back. I don't know if you remember not that long ago, like those satchels that you would get while leveling in Dragonflight and the War Within content, along with like an XP bonus and a little renown bonus. They're doing it again. From July 15th through August the 12th, you'll get 20% bonus leveling experience and a big boost to renown. So they're doing 200% to Dragonflight renowns again, and then 100% buff to War Within ones, including Goblin Cartels this time. Last time they did this event, Goblin Cartels had like just come out and they were not included in the rep buff, but they've been lumped in, including Dark Fuse. They named Dark Fuse as part of the list. So if you've been wanting to work on your Goblin Cartel reps, because there's a lot of great cosmetics in there, including mounts, there's Paragon Cash mounts. So, you know, even if you got to Exalted and you cleared out the vendor, there's Paragon Cash mounts. This event is going to be a great time to do that, with the only caveat being that, I don't know about you, but I feel busy with I don't think I'm going to be done with the mount thing, and then also it's going to go from mount thing pretty much right into the patch thing. So I don't know when I'm going to have time to level alts with this, but I'm sure people will. It'll be very fast leveling because that experience buff is going to stack with the Turbulent Time Waves buff that we still have. You know how you can do like time locking dungeons right now to stack up an experience buff? You do 4 dungeons and you get like a 30% XP buff. That's going to stack with this event buff. You can also get extra experience from these potions. You get these extra 10% Winds of Mysterious Fortune potions during the event. And then also if you've leveled some characters already, you get that stacking Warband mentoring buff. It's going to be crazy fast leveling, which is great if you wanted to get any new 80s set up for the new patch, or maybe you want a couple of new 80s set up for some extra end of the month mount runs. There's definitely some raids that have buffed mount drop rates that are much easier to run on like a semi-geared level 80, even just a veteran geared level 80. Probably not the only one that could use just like 1 or 2 more of those. Speaking of mount runs, what I've been up to this week has been mount runs. I got my first mount, finally. It was a huge relief. I was starting to get a little worried. It took like a week and a day, but I got the Xerath Overseer mount. Looks like this. This is the Mythic Jailer mount. I'm so happy to have this one checked off the list because it was such a long mount farm. Even with the skip, you still have to kill the first boss, Anduin, Rygalon, who can kind of kill you if you're undergeared, Lords of Dread, who can kind of perma-sleep you if you're undergeared, and then Jailer. It was a long farm, but it's such a cool mount, so I'm really glad that I got that one. I'm working on Sanctum and Domination for Sylvanas now, and then Nyalotha for N'Zoth, which are also very long runs, but they're such cool mounts. It would be so nice to get them during the event. And that brings us to our add-on highlight of the week, Rarity. If you've ever seen someone claim to have like 493 attempts on a given mount and then wonder, how on earth could they possibly know that? They're probably using Rarity. Out of the box, Rarity will track your attempts on rare drop items like mounts, pets, and toys, so you know exactly how many ICC runs it took before you got invincible. When the mount finally drops, it'll show an achievement-style pop-up to A, help you notice. Be embarrassing to like be clearing out your bags later at the vendor and go, wow, when did this mount get here? It's not that embarrassing. It's been happening to lots of people. But also on that achievement pop-up, it'll show you how many attempts it took you, so when people ask you, you can tell them. And that has been the week. Thank you very much for watching. Stop by a stream sometime if you like. I am live for one bonus hour every stream during the month of July for the mount farming event, so 9 through 1 Pacific time as opposed to 9 a.m. through noon. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!